Hi friends, welcome to webcam. In this video, I'm going to talk about object constructor in JavaScript and what is the prototype in JavaScript. Okay, so basically object constructor is a function which is very similar to creating a class, but it is actually a function. Okay, how we can create an object constructor. So in my earlier video, I have discussed how to create a class, right? And what we were doing is we can add these properties through the constructor while creating an object. That's what we have seen. So here, this is what no, this is not a class. Okay, this is what a object I have created directly. So here I'm going to create one class. Okay, let me create a class, and the class I will say person. Person is my class name, and here what I will do, I will add a constructor also. So this all these things I have discussed. And whenever I will create an object, I would like to pass some parameters here. I would like to initialize some attributes or properties of objects. So I will say f name, l name, email. Okay, these three parameters I will take from object. Okay, and here I will initialize this by using this dot f name is equal to f name, then this dot l name is equal to l name, and next is this dot email is equal to email. Okay, this is how we can use the constructor to initialize the attributes of objects. This is what we have seen, right? Right, and here I can go and I can create objects like this. Let p1 is equal to new person, and from this object, yes, we can pass the values here like Brahma, and name. Then I can pass gmail.com. This is how I can create an object, right? This is what we have seen so far. Let me create another object, and here I'm going to pass again few more parameters. Here I will say Aditya, I will say Mane, and let me say adityamane@gmail.com. This is how we can create any number of object of class. JavaScript allow you to do this in even more sorted way. Okay, or in with a shorter syntax, we can say. So what you can do, you have to create a function. As we create function, I will say person, function is a person. Okay, and here I will create a function, but here I can pass the arguments as I passed in constructor, right? And now inside of this function, if I initialize this, or if I write this, the meaning of both the things will be same. This is my object constructor. Okay, this is my object constructor. So that's why I said object constructor is a function which looks like, which is very similar to creating a class, but we are not going to create a class actually. We are creating a function, and that is what called object constructor. And using this function, we can create an object. So I will say person new here, so that it will differentiate some kind of with few more letters, so that we can create an object with this person new. So let me create one more object called p3, and which is equal to, if I say new, and if I type here person, so here you are able to see person new. It is a constructor. So JavaScript will treat this function object constructor like a class. And then we can pass the values here, P3 is very similar to the P1. Okay, I will pass same the values. No matter whatever the values you can pass, because it's like assigning a value to the variable is nothing but a passing arguments to the parameters. Okay, so passing parameters to the arguments. Here P2 is already created, so I will say P4, and new, again we will create this person, and I would like to pass these values here. So so here we have seen what is the difference between class and object constructor. Object constructor is a function. We can directly write a function and initialize the attributes of object. JavaScript will treat that function like a class, and we can use that object constructor name, that is nothing but a function name, to create an object or to create an instance directly. Okay, this is what the shorter syntax of creating class and writing a constructor and doing many other things. Okay, so this is how it works. So next is any number of object can be created using object constructor, like we can create for a class. That's what we have seen. So now for object, definitely we can add the properties, right? So I would like to add the property here, P1. Okay, I don't want to use this anymore. It was just for the comparison purpose so that people can understand very easily. So now I will say P3. Now I would like to add a property here called P3 dot contact, or P3 dot language, I can say. Okay, lang is equal to en. So this is what the language I have added for the P3 person. And now what I will do, I will go here and I will try to print the language documents. Okay, not this. Documents dot write method I will use to see the output, and I will say P3 dot lang. If I go to my folder called JavaScript, if I open the window here, so here you can see the output. It is written in me and English, or whatever the language I have set here, that is what getting printed over there. I will say Marathi. Okay, and I will refresh. So here Marathi will come. But we are able to add the properties to the object only, right? What if I wanted to add new property to my object constructor? Because that property, if I wanted to add new property and that property should be available for all the object, then definitely we need to add the property here, right? Like this. So this dot lang is equal to lang. This is how we can do, definitely we can do, but this is the only way, right? And we can pass lang here. Then we need to add that property to the object constructor here itself, inside the object constructor. But I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Okay. I want to add the property from outside of the object constructor definition. Means if I say person new dot, okay, and if I say lang is equal to English, just for the demo purpose, okay, and if I try to print now P4, if I go here, in here you will see it is undefined, means this syntax is not working, right? We are unable to add the property to the object constructor. Similarly, we won't be able to add any other methods. Method is nothing but, you can understand, right? Method is nothing but a function. Like we won't be able to add a new property to our object constructor. We can add, but we need to modify the constructor function. But I don't want to modify the constructor function in that case. Okay. In that case, we have something called prototype in JavaScript. Right? To add new property to the object constructor, it needs to be added to the constructor itself. And I don't want this. I don't want to add the property here in this bracket. I would like to add the property from outside of object constructor definition. And this is what we have to see. And for that purpose, we need a prototype. Let's understand now what is a prototype. Okay. So prototype is like a parent class for the object constructor whenever we define object constructor or for objects. So all the objects in a JavaScript, okay, inherit the properties from prototype by default, right? So these are the built-in object constructors in JavaScript: new string, new number, new boolean, new object, new array. This is what new array we have seen. So new date is something I am here to discuss. New function. These are the object constructors in a JavaScript that we directly use to create an object. Similarly, as I have created for the person new, right? So all these objects inherit the properties. Okay, it should be yes, properties and methods from prototype. Means, okay, let me write on the screen so that you can understand. Means there is a date function, right? This date object inherit the properties from date dot prototype. So we don't have to we don't have to write date dot prototype anywhere. Automatically it will be created. Whenever a new object is created, this will come in a picture from the JavaScript. This is a background activity JavaScript will do automatically. You don't have to do anything. And our problem is that we won't be able to add a new property to this object constructor, right? This object constructor. But we know inheritance, right? And by default, this person new is inheriting the properties from, right? This person new object is, or object constructor inheriting, means whatever the object we will create, that will inherit the properties from person new. Okay, person new dot prototype. So from this, it will inherit the property. So if I add a new property to this, right, person new dot prototype, if I add new property to this prototype, then definitely we will be able to, or our object will be able to access that property, right? This is what we have to do, or this is what we are going to do in this way. Okay, so let's do that also. Let's add the property. So earlier we have seen that we were unable to see the property, right? We were unable to see the value for p4.lang, right? Now what I will do, I will change this definition. I will say person.new and I will say prototype.lang. So what I did, I added a property to its parent, right? This is like a class. And this is what, the object of person new class will inherit the property from prototype. So what I did, I have added a property to prototype. Okay. And this should work, right? Here we have updated p3.lang, but in case of p4. lang, it should be English, right? This is how we can add the properties to object constructor by using prototype. That is the use of prototype in JavaScript. Prototype it is inheritance. Okay, by default, whenever we create an object, so JavaScript will what it will do, it will create an object dot prototype on the top of prototype in inheritance chain. So it's like that. It's like that writing extends, right? But extend we cannot write. So what I will do, I will write a class here. This is what we did earlier. This is what a function I need. What I will do, I'm just demonstrating what is happening there. Class and person. Okay. I don't want to use this class. Here I will add, or I will say person. I don't want this, right? Then this is what something I have to initialize with constructor. Constructor is, or whatever the definition, whatever the initialization happens inside curly brackets of constructor. So this is how we can write, right? And by writing this, okay, or this is what automatically happens. By default, it extends person dot prototype. Okay, this is what happening automatically. And if we create an object of this person class, definitely it is able to access the properties of person dot prototype. Similarly, it happens here, but it happens behind the scene. We do not need to write anything like this. I hope you understood concept. If you want to add the function, definitely you can add new function to the person new. You have to use the same syntax. And here you will say it's like a property. I will say full name. Okay. And instead of this, what I will do, I will add a function. There is no name added to the function. That's why we can say that this is what an anonymous function. And full name is something what we can use to call the anonymous function. So here this function is going to return me, okay, this dot, right? This dot f name plus, let me add some space between first name and last name. And here what I will do, I will say this dot, okay, not lang, I want L name. Now here I'm going to call. Here I'm going to call. Or what I will do, I will add some more text here. Is speaking, okay, and here again I will say this dot lang, so that you can see that what are the property we have modified here. But this is what the object property. Once object is created, we were looking to add the properties here directly. Okay, we have not added any lang property for the P4, but still we are able to see the output. That is what the beauty. Okay, as of now I have not defined P4 dot lang prototype. We were able to add. So now what I need to do, I need to call. P3 is going to call all the full name. And this function is going to return me. So what I will do, I will say document dot write P3 dot full name. Let me go here. Let me refresh. It says something is incorrect. Uncatched reference cannot access person before initialization. Okay, right. Oh, something is missing. Okay, this is what I don't want. It was just for the demo purpose so that you can understand. There I used person. Somewhere I used person. I didn't use it, right? Yes, you are able to see the output on screen. So here it says that Brahma Bajute is speaking Marathi. Okay, English is coming from this line. So if I remove this, you will not see the English on screen. Yes, I can speak Marathi. Let me add the space so that it looks little bit beautiful. Right. This is how it works. This is what the use of prototype. Prototype is used to add properties and methods to object constructor. Right. That's what, or that is what all about object constructor and prototype in JavaScript. I hope you like the content. Thank you so much for watching the video. Have a nice day.